Now, in the meantime, the initial differences between the two sections were rapidly and dramatically increasing, becoming more severe. During the 3 or 4 decades following the Revolution, the North and South grew much further apart. Both sections were American and Republican. Both professed a similar rhetoric of liberty and popular government, but beneath the surface, they were fast becoming very different places with different cultures, different values, one coming to honor common labor as the supreme human activity, the other continuing to think of labor, manual labor, in traditional terms as mean and despicable and fit only for slaves. When, on the eve of the Civil War, the South complained that it had remained true to the 18th century republic and that it was the North that had changed, it was absolutely right, correct. In the years immediately following the Revolution, the North was radically transformed, politically, economically, socially, and culturally. It was not just that the population growth in the two sections was different, although by 1810 New York had surpassed Virginia as the largest state. It was the varied nature of the growth in the North. The northern states were building turnpikes and canals, creating banks and corporations, and greasing the growing internal trade with paper money to an extent not duplicated in the southern states. Everywhere in the northern states, farm families were busy buying and selling with each other. The society was still predominantly rural, still agricultural, but with no large manufacturing cities as in England, but in many respects, but many northern towns, people seemed to be doing nothing else but doing everything else but farming. By 1815, even the little tiny town of Mount Pleasant, Ohio, with a population of only 500 persons, had several dozen artisans and manufacturing shops, including 3 saddlers, 3 hatters, 4 blacksmiths, 4 weavers, 6 shoemakers, 3 cabinet makers, 1 baker, 1 apothecary, 2 wagon makers, 2 tanneries, 1 wool carding machine maker, 1 wool carding machinist, 1 wool spinning machinist, 1 fleece spinner, 1 flax spinner, and 1 nail factory. Within a 6-mile radius of this little town, 500 people, there were 9 merchant mills, 2 grist mills, 12 saw mills, and 1 paper mill, 1 woolen factory, and 2 fulling mills. Now, there's nothing like that in the South. Nothing like this little Ohio town in the South. The North was becoming the most highly commercialized society in the world. The North was becoming increasingly dominated by hosts of middling people, what we will later call middle-class people, commercial farmers, mechanics, clerks, teachers, businessmen, industrious, self-trained, would-be professionals who celebrated work and the making of money to a degree unprecedented in the Atlantic world.